Just couldn't ever catch up with his dreams, that's all.
What could be so dirty on that woman's rugs? She has to vacuum them every single day.
I wish a certain young woman round here I could name would take inspiration about certain rugs in a certain apartment I could also mention.
How much cleaning can a house need, for Christ's sake?
Benny.
Just listen to her. Just listen.
Oh, God.
If you use the Lord's name just one more time.
Oh, Mama.
Fresh, just fresh as salt, this girl.
Well, if the salt loses its savor.
Now that will do. I just ain't gonna have you around here reciting the scripture in vain, you hear me?
How did I manage to get on everybody's wrong side by just walking into a room?
If you weren't so fresh.
Ruth, I am 20 years old.
What time you be home from school this evening?
Kind of late. Madeline is going to start my guitar lessons.
Your what kind of lessons?
Guitar.
Oh, Father.
How come you done taken it into your mind to learn to play the guitar?
I just want to, that's all.
Oh, child, don't you know what to do with yourself? How long it's gonna be before you get tired of this now? Like you got tired of that little play acting group you joined last year. What was it the year before that?
Horseback riding club, for which she bought that $55 riding habit that's been hanging in the closet ever since.
Why you got to flip so from one thing to another, baby?
I just want to learn to play the guitar. Is anything wrong with that?
Ain't nobody trying to stop you. I just wonders why you has to flip so from one thing to another. You ain't never done nothing with all that camera equipment you bought.
I don't flit. I experiment with different forms of expression.
Like riding a horse?
People have to express themselves one way or another.
What is it you want to express?
Me! Don't worry. I don't expect you to understand.
Who you going out with tomorrow?
George Murchison again.
Oh, you getting a little sweet on him.
You ask me, this child ain't sweet on nobody but herself. Express us.
I like George all right, Mama. I mean, I like him enough to go out with him and stuff, but
what
I
does that stuff mean?
Mind your own business.
Quit picking on her now, Ruth. What does it mean?
I just mean I could never really be serious about George. He's so shallow.
Shallow? What you mean he's shallow? He's rich.
Sure.
I know he's rich. He knows he's rich, too.
Well, what other qualities a man got to have to satisfy you, little girl?
You wouldn't even begin to understand. Anybody who married Walter could not possibly understand.
Now, what kind of way is that for you to talk about your brother?
Brother's a flip, let's face it.
What's a flip?
She's saying he's crazy.
No, not crazy. Brother isn't really crazy yet. He's an elaborate neurotic.
Hush your mouth.
As for George, George looks good. He's got a beautiful car. He takes me to nice places. I even like him sometimes. But if the youngers are sitting around waiting to see if their little Benny is going to tie up the family with the Murchisons, they're wasting their time.
You mean you wouldn't marry George Murchison even if he asked you someday? That pretty rich thing? Honey, I knew you was
No, I would not marry him if all I felt for him is what I feel now. Besides, George's family wouldn't really like it.
Why not?
Oh, Mama, the Murchisons are honest to God, real, live, rich colored people. And the only people in the world who are more snobbish than rich white people are rich colored people. Well, I thought everybody knew that. I have met Mrs. Murchison. Woo! She's a scene.
You must not dislike people because they're well off, honey.
Why not? It makes just as much sense as disliking people because they're poor. And lots of people do that.
Well, she'll get over some of this.
Get over it. What are you talking about, Ruth? Listen, I am going to be a doctor. I'm not worried about who I'm going to marry yet. If I ever get married.
If? Now, Benny.
Oh, I probably will. But first, I am going to be a doctor. And George, for one, still thinks that's pretty funny. Well, I couldn't be bothered with that. I am going to be a doctor, and everybody around here better understand that.
course you're gonna be a doctor, honey, God willing.
God hasn't got a thing to do with it.
Benita, that just wasn't necessary.
No, neither's God. I get sick of hearing about God.
Benita!
I mean it. I am just tired of hearing about God all the time. What has he got to do with anything? Does he pay tuition?
You just about to get your fresh little jaw slapped.
That's just what she needs.
Why? Why can't I say what I want to around here like everybody else?
It don't sound nice for young girls to say things like that. You wasn't brought up that way. Me and your daddy went to trouble to get you and brother to church every Sunday.
Mama, you don't understand. It's all a matter of ideas, and God is just one idea I don't accept. Well, it's not important. I'm not going out and be immoral or commit crimes because I don't believe in God. I don't even think about it. It's just that I get tired of him getting credit for all the things the human race achieves through its own stubborn effort. Well, there simply is no blasted God. There's only man, and it is he who makes miracles.
Now you say after me, in my mother's house, there is still God. In my mother's house, there is still God.
In my mother's house, there is still God.
There are some ideas we just ain't gonna have in this house. Not as long as I'm still the head of this family.
Yes, ma'am.
Benny, you think you're a woman, but you're still a little girl. And what you did was childish, so you got treated like a child.
I see. I also see that everybody thinks it's all right for Mama to be a tyrant. But all the tyranny in the world will never put a God in the heavens.
She said she was sorry.